So if everyone can make your way back into the room, please. The smokers that are outside, if you can come back in. Hope everybody's refreshed. While everyone's just coming back into the room, just to say that Caribbean folk, food is a really big thing within the community, and it's about, bringing people together, making sure people are satisfied, full, eaten too much, and there are signature dishes for all of the islands. So I won't go into them because my heritage is Jamaican, and people always complain, it's not only Jamaican food, So, that's that. Is everybody back in? Okay. So what I would love you to do to kind of kick us off is I want us to honour all of the people that have come here. Yeah, just to honour the Windrush generation. Can we just give a big round of applause and cheer for everyone from the Windrush generation? Woo, 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 woo! Need to get this second half started off good, and good vibes, positivity. Okay, so we're going to kick off the second half. First up, we'd actually moved her into the second half, so we're going to have her right now. But on the Windrush, that ship that came in 1948, there was also Polish people. And we're going to get another volunteer, basically. She's going to come and tell us about their journey being part of Windrush as well, that I never knew about, and maybe a lot of you might not have known about, that they were part of that journey as well. So we're just going to have some information monologue about that journey as well. So I would like to call up Val. Come up, Val, give her a round of applause.
Nice breeze. Hi everybody, my name is Val, and I'll be telling you a story about the Forgotten 66. So this story is about 66 Polish nationals traveling aboard Empire Windrush. Sorry, my throat is really dry. No, I'm fine. Should be fine. So, the Windrush Poles were a group of 66 Polish refugees who came to England after World War II on the famous ship Empire Windrush. Their arrival marked the end of 24,000 miles journey that has begun in Poland in 1940. In 1939, Germany and Russia invaded Poland and divided it between them. Joseph Stalin wanted to absorb Poland into Soviet Union by confiscating land, properties and businesses, and deporting people to Siberian camps. Around 1.5 million people are known to have been deported to Siberian labor camps in between 1940 and 1941. Most families were woken in the middle of the night by the Russian soldiers, given just a couple minutes to collect their belongings, and packed in cattle trucks to be deported. The trips to the camps lasted for weeks with low food and water supplies and almost no means of heating apart from a tiny stove. Many died during the trip and at the camps, including babies that died of cold and starvation. Unfortunately, the dead had to be buried twice as the ground was too hard to dig. First, the bodies were preserved in the snow, and later, when the ground wasn't as hard, the bodies were buried in the ground. When treaty was signed by the Soviets and Polish government in exile, amnesty was granted to those deported. However, not many were informed of this arrangement, and very little support was given by the Soviet authorities to help people come back home. Some managed to escape and travel south through Russia and Central Asia. Men, women, and children sailed to Iran, but those who could fight went to North Africa, Italy, or joined British Army in the fight. Iran could not deal with such a large number of diseased and malnourished refugees. They provided support registering with schools and welfare centers, but a permanent home was still to be found. Polish officials in London were visiting embassies to seek help. Their call was answered by the colonial government of British East Africa, the Maharaja of Nagawar, the Jewish Agency in Palestine, Government of Mexico, and Prime Minister of New Zealand. So our 66 were a part of 1,400 Poles who were sent to the small village of Colonia Santa Rosa near León, Mexico. The refugees were welcomed with the Polish national anthem performed by the orchestra. They described the feeling as something incredible. For the first time, they felt like humans and not unwanted trespassers who bring illnesses and suffering. Thanks to the support of the Polish government, Mexico, the USA, and the UK, refugees were provided with suitable living conditions, clothes, medicine, access to education, and health services. At the end of the war, there were about 5 million Poles scattered all over the globe, and the refugee agencies had a major task to track the survived families. As a result of the Yalta Conference, many could not return home to Eastern Poland due to Soviet influence. Most refugees decided to reside in the US or travel to the UK. Few stayed in Mexico after Santa Rosa was dissolved in 1947. UK became an attractive prospect after Churchill's promise was made into legislation, which was the Polish Resettlement Act that was passed in 1947, allowing Polish troops who had contributed to the Allied war effort to receive support from UK government. Assistance was offered to their relatives abroad to join their family in UK. Empire Windrush has toured the Gulf of Mexico in 1948, where 10 Poles have left the ship to join their family in Tampico, and our forgotten 66 embarked on their next and last journey. The Windrush Poles have listed their last country of residence as Mexico. They were alien passengers, whilst everybody on the ship were British passengers. Out of 66, there was only one adult male on the ship. The rest were women and children. Janina Folta, she was one of the passengers. She was only 12 when she traveled with her mom and siblings to reunite with her father in the UK. On board the Windrush, Janina and other children didn't know how to use cutlery to eat the food that was provided for them. In Mexico, they mostly ate stews with tortillas, and in Asia, they were feeding on whatever scraps they could find. The crew has taught them how to hold a knife and fork. Janina recalls that they were traveling in berths below the waterline, where it was musty and dark. They were not allowed to roam freely on the boat. They could only go out on the deck, escorted groups, and Janina has not seen any of the other passengers. Some Poles, including Janina, were not aware that they have arrived to the UK on the famous ship until a few years ago. Unfortunately, there are no photos of the 66 on their arrival, along with the happy faces of the other passengers. This journey was the culmination point of a very dark story stretched for a decade. And unfortunately, my connection to this story is that my great-grandmother's parents have been sent to the Siberian camps after the war in the 50s. Fortunately, they managed to come back home in Moldova. That's where I'm from. And my great-grandmother have escaped this fate just because she married the army tailor when she was 16. So she managed to stay home and waiting for her parents. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Val. So I think that's really important for us to hear about because the 66, the Pole 66. I don't think many people heard about them travelling on the Windrush as well. So their contribution as well. So thank you for that, Val, and for your kind of heartfelt part about your family as well. Thank you. Okay. Next up, back to some poetry. We're going to have someone that's, I think, quite well known in the Bedfordshire, or Bedford community, and Bedfordshire, I would say, and all over the place, really. I've seen her on TV, but hey. So I'm going to call someone up who is part of an organisation called Loud, which is the legacy of Windrush descendants. And I'm going to let her explain also what that is, but she has a poem to share with us, and she was also the one that we worked in conjunction with the retired Caribbean nurses. So I would like to welcome to the stage Pauline Stepney. A round of applause. She's not nervous, really. You're not nervous, are you?
Hi. Right, yeah, I am nervous, and I've actually had to say this, Auntie Cynthia, I know I pressed you to do this stuff, and you, Jackie, and I'm really sorry, because it's really nerve-wracking. My poem's on my phone. But just to say that this year was, like every year since 1948, has been a poignant year for our community, and I think it should have been celebrated from the time we got here, when it got to 10 years, 15 years, and so on. We know this came out of tragedy, and we know this came out of something that the government are trying to kind of hide behind because they did us away. They did something very, very wrong to us, sending people back after telling them to come over here. Well, you paid your taxes and everything else, and all of a sudden, you're surplus to requirements, you have to go. So my poem is going to touch on that a little. Our organisation became a charity in I was about to say 2021, and we've basically tried to grow from strength to strength. Our saying is that we promote partnership, we embrace harmony, and we enhance the cultural richness of Bedford. Well, Bedfordshire, actually. And we really, really do. When you actually look at the music that we brought here, that you had people who then didn't like us skinheads actually dancing to it. You know, it's quite, the irony is quite kind of crazy, really, isn't it? You know, we hate you, but we're going to jig about to your music anyway. You know? And even, it's just, we came here, the 1948 Nationality Act was actually not meant for us. Okay, it wasn't meant for people of a brown hue, a black hue, nothing. It was meant for Canadians, white Australians, and white South Africans. And they actually had debates in Parliament to see how they could avoid having us come over as well. But we were part of the Commonwealth, something they agreed to in the first place. So when the ship did go, and just like what was said before, I don't know if you've ever seen newspaper cuttings. They always talk about 492. But I just don't think they could add, because it stopped off in Bermuda and 164 people were picked up. It then went to Jamaica. 599 people were picked up. 492 of those were coming here to work. Then it went over to Mexico to get the Polish people, 66 of them, and then went on to Bermuda and got, I think it's 198, I think I got the figures, but I worked it out at 1,027. But I think if they actually said it was over 1,000, I think they'd have gone, my God, there's thousands of people coming to invade the country. So that's why they just stuck to the 492. And that's just a bit of history we like to create. I'm hoping that we're going to continue the partnerships with OMG, Retired Caribbean Nurses, for next year's and all the years to come, not just for Windrush, but for everything that we try to do. One thing our organisation does is try to assist other organisations, help them with funding, help them with getting their status, etc. We've even helped on a Bangladeshi Heritage Day, which was really, really great fun, because there was just a lot of things I just didn't know about their culture. And we just hope that we can carry on doing that. So without further ado, hold on. And if anybody wondered why we held our flag raising on the 21st of June and not the 22nd, we had to be extra, as we're loud, because that was the day the ship was docked. It actually came to Tilbury dock on the 21st. So in Bedford, it had to be a little bit different, and we did our flag raising then. So it could be up there all day for the 22nd. But it's something that we should all know, because when the ship docked, they debated how we're going to let them off, where they're going to go, what we're going to do. So what they actually said was, I think it was one of the ministers said, well, soon in 3 months' time, it's going to get cold, and they will go back. And he was kind of wrong. So my poem is called Ships, and the reason why I'm calling it that, and it's on my phone, because ships kind of play a poignant past in our past, going back to slavery. So here goes. We were taken away in ships to places we did not know. Ships which were blessed to make safe journeys with us, the cargo. Centuries saw fight against slavery, demanding freedom for all, forming unions and joining the Commonwealth. Invitations to the land of milk and honey was the call. In 1948, we boarded a ship, the Windrush, to a place called the Motherland, to rebuild, reform, work and pay taxes as citizens. Would we have come if we knew of the hostile environment beforehand? Taken away, shipped to a place we did not know, shipped by a government, officials accompanying them on their journey, leaving them lost with nowhere to go.
Thank you, Pauline. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for sharing about the information about your charity and a bit of a history lesson too. We're getting everything tonight. I'm so happy. Okay, next up is actually me. It's got my name there. So, but don't worry, it's not all me. It's a group poem which I was involved in. So part of this group poem was with Cheryl, Arlene, is that the back there? Cynthia, Abdul, Jackie, myself and Mark. Okay. Missing the sunshine, I want to go home. My belly is rumbling, I'm weak at the knees. Where is the sunshine? I'm so cold. Now here comes the snow. These boots and coat don't look nice. Homelessness was a real problem back in the 1940s and was a very hostile place to live. Born here and went to school, put in remedial class because I was assumed I didn't speak English. The end. The end of that. Okay, so next up I have someone that's coming to read a poem who's actually a colleague of mine, because I actually work for the Recovery College in Luton as part of the NHS, delivering courses, free courses actually for well-being and mental health. And we work all across Bedfordshire, so I just wanted to kind of highlight that. It's all free, so look us up, Recovery College. So my colleague is here tonight, and he's taken a spin on the poem. Back in the day you did this, didn't you, around the scandal. So I'd like to welcome my colleague Amit Shenmar, if you'd like to come up. Round of applause. He told me he's nervous, but you know.
Bear with me a moment. Hello everyone, my name's Amit. I work alongside Diane at the Recovery College. I hope you do like this poem. It's about the Windrush scandal. It's slightly political in places. It draws reference from people like Frantz Fanon, and maybe it captures the mood of the era at that time. I hope you like it. It's called Legal Alien, and perhaps that concept will become more apparent as we go through the poem. Legal alien, the poor innocent body, sadness reigns supreme. Decommissioning families, structural ethnic cleansing, gingerly masqueraded as an error in administration, colonially seduced for labour in the 50s and 60s. Come to the motherland, the empire bellowed. Years of toil, nation building, yet the fruits of your labour soured by this debacle. For what crime have I committed to raise the ire of Her Majesty's vexation? A question that rages incessantly, whirring in my consciousness like a rat in a proverbial Ferris wheel. No longer Anglican, no more trips to the Caribbean, caught in the eye of an ideological storm. Innocent people seething, rightfully so, the children of the Windrush, their history airbrushed. Pompously photoshopped from the moral consciousness of this grey land. My heart pours for the children of a colonised mind. For me it serves as a grave reminder. Great Britain is enshrined in dehumanisation, besotted in a narcissistic game of self-glorification, systematic bicep flexing, whilst the real issues need addressing. Like why these people were left marginalised at the behest of our Home Office. Black skin, white masks remains a seminal text. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Amir. Well done. So you got one fan at least, Amit. Well done. Okay, thank you. Next up, a formidable woman. One of the founders of OMG. We have Georgia, GSG, to come up and do a poem. And she's also going to read a poem that from one of the people that was part of our group that can't attend today, Georgina. So,
Thank you. Formidable is an adjective I like. So I'll do my poem first. My poem is called Ripple and Crash. Gazing out to a vast blue expanse, a tiny door on the horizon. They are saying it's England. Oh, mighty England. Waves ripple and crash. We have rippled to crash into our new lives, hoping the atrocities of yesterday are not today's. That what they told us about wealth, prosperity, opportunity is also true of kindness, hope, and truth. We have given our brothers and our blood to the motherland. What now will the motherland give to us? For now, we ripple. Tomorrow, we crash. Now, this poem, I would like to point out, would not have been my first choice of Georgina's poems, but my Jamaican accent, not good. Not good. Would not have done it justice. So this is a Windrush acrostic by Georgina Douglas, who couldn't be with us tonight, but I am very honoured to be reading it on her behalf. Women, men, families. Island-loving people coming to help fellow islanders. NHS backbone. Driven people, skilled, professional, ambitious, respectful of Queen and country, expecting respect in return. Ungrateful hosts. Sun finally coming out. Hope for better times. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Georgia. Okay, next up we have our Luton representative, Natalie. If you can come up, please.
I wrote this for sometimes children that get left behind. It's called Missing You. Mummy left for England and said I had to stay with Granny. I love my Granny, but I really miss my mummy. She's been gone for 7 years now, and all I have are pictures and letters. When Mummy left, she said she would come home as often as she could. But now, I fear I may never see her again. Maybe she will send for me, or maybe, when I'm older, I'll get to go to England and I'll see her again.
Well done. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I love that one, Through the Eyes of the Child. Oh. Okay, next up, we've got a poem by a lovely young gentleman. I can't see him though. So this next poem is by Skipper. You know? Give him a round of applause.
Thank you, thank you. Hope you're enjoying yourself so far. Yeah? Yeah, you sure? You don't sound too sure. You enjoying yourself? Yeah. All right, I won't be too long, I'll get into it. From the Caribbean quarter, the land of wood and water, Jamaicans, mothers and fathers, by request and invite, promises of a better life, if we help build back Great Britain after the disaster that was World War II, wanting us to do the jobs you didn't want to do, like nurses and doctors, bus drivers and conductors, train drivers, just to name a few. So dressed razor sharp, neat and smart, we boarded the Empire Windrush, prepared to be many miles apart from loved ones and sweethearts, unaware of how the motherland will treat us. For 22 days we rode the waves, 1,027 passengers and 2 stowaways. Sailing being a first for most of us. In our host and God we faithfully trust. He's not failing us, all because the trail must be blazed. Excited and delighted when we reached Tilbury docks. It was cold like a blizzard, and we shivered in our socks. Lord Kitchener sang that song, broadcasted on the BBC, of how he loved London, and London is the place for me. Amongst the soot, smog and fog, we searched for bed and board, but no blacks, no Irish and no dogs was a sign on the windows and doors. Facing daily racial discrimination, police brutalization, yet this generation endured and paved the way. So this is what I have to say to Miss Theresa May. How dare you take their generation citizenship away? We worked years upon years, blood, sweat and tears. Now it appears this is how we get repaid. I do not want to swear, but I will if I must. Your shitstem is unfair, unholy and unjust. Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Skipper. Well done. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Brilliant. Thank you. Okay. Good. It's all good stuff tonight. Okay. This next poem was also done by someone who can't be here tonight. Her name's Rachel. She was part of the group. And it's actually called My Grip. And does anyone know what a grip is? Say that again? A suitcase, yes. So for those that don't know, a grip, you'll hear a lot of Caribbeans saying they brought their grip or they came with their grip. Yeah. Yeah. So for those that you didn't know, you've learned something new today about the grip. So this poem is called My Grip, and it's actually going to be read by our lovely volunteer. She's only found this out at the last minute, so she brought it on herself, being a volunteer. That's what happens. So I would like to ask Rose to come back up and read that poem for Rachel.
Thank you, Diane. You've got me again. So this is called My Grip. I took my grip down today. It was sitting on top of the wardrobe, still brown and smooth like my mother's skin when she smoothed herself with coconut oil. I liked the sound of the locks unfastening, clack, clack, heavy and secure. I remember when she shut them that Friday morning, sealing away my home safely for me to take with me. I can't believe how much I've forgotten school, friends, the taste of the sun, the twang I fought to lose. My grip sat on the wardrobe, containing memories I wanted to hide. Now as I open it, I feel and smell home, my mum, my land, and I cry.
Thank you. Thanks, Rose, filling in there. Lovely. Okay, next up we have Val, if you can come back up after that lovely monologue you did earlier. Give her a round of applause. Come up.
Hello again. So this poem is actually based on the story that I just told you about the 66 Polish nationals on the Windrush. And this is, I would say, the perspective of one of those girls on this trip and what she went through. So this poem is called My Bed to Tilbury Docks. Sound of heavy soldier boots on the ground. This noise and terror will stick forever with me. Thrown in the truck like cattle, penny for a pound. I feel we'll never again be free. Steam train whistle cutting like knife through my brain. Going blind from all around white of the snow. No escape, too weak, too much pain. No food, no water, minus 50 degrees below. I wish my family fade away, turn hope into despair. I wish my friends fall to the ground frozen. We were pleading, praying, gasping air. We did nothing wrong. Why were we chosen? Your war, your selfish battle, my broken will, you made sure I can't fight. Only skin and bones, I sound like a rattle. Every sunset, I hope to survive the night. Only rumors are traveling here. I heard we could be free. But there's always a catch, it's clear. I have to surrender, no chance for plea. Again on the road, from freezing air to burning sun, seen my father go off to another battle. He's learned to fight, to wield a gun. I had scraps, whatever I could haggle. Got news? Got to move again? Go to Mexico. I don't expect much, hope no more. But they cared, showed me the sky painted indigo. I felt like human. I felt like my life is not a chore. Mama came with a letter from miles across the globe. My father's writing has not changed. He survived the war. He wants us to join him in the UK. Without us, he can't cope. Maybe there we'll stop running. Fear no more. Here I am, in this musty room that feels like a cell. Can't go out, can't see other passengers, can't be alone. I'm seasick all the time, head is heavy and rings like a bell. Now that I know how to use knife and fork, can I sit on the throne? My father standing in the crown of woven faces. I recognize him. I see his teary eyes. After traveling and surviving so many places, no more, never again, no more goodbyes. This is the end of my trip, my suffering. I will make this place mine, my end of the line. But still can't stop thoughts from my head wandering. Is this the end? Will I be fine?
Thank you, Val. Thank you. Okay, nice. Okay, and now we've got, we're hearing from our lovely retired nurses again. And so next up will be Jackie. Give a round of applause to come up.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do an haiku, but before I do it, I need to say something. When Cynthia and I was asked to come and be part of this gathering, we said, and we had to do, it's called creative writing. We thought, creative writing? Us? We don't know nothing about creative writing. We'll just go and see what it looks like. And by the end of that first session, we thought, we can do some of this. It's not so hard. So we kept coming. So I'm going to do a haiku. Now a haiku is 3 sentences. 3 sentences? Yeah. And the first one has got to have 5 syllables, the second one 7 syllables, and then the third one 5 syllables. And I'm sitting there counting my fingers, so I hope that's what happened. Right. And this is to do with now the compensation and the grief people are getting for trying to get some compensation. Government disgrace, slow payment to those in need, people in despair. Asked to complete form, government dragging their feet, change of paperwork. Compensation now, taking too long to sort out, people still waiting.
Yes, you did it right. She said, did I do it right? Yeah. Yeah, so in poetry form, she mentioned about the haiku. So yeah, you guys learned something new as well, didn't you, to do? So yeah, it was really good. And when we did the haikus, everybody's brains, you could just see their brains going, oh my God, okay, syllable, and so, but it was fun, it was good. Okay, next up is the lovely Cynthia again with a poem.
Now, as my friend Jackie said just now, we were re-educated when we came on these classes, and we thought we'll stick around, hang around, and then they'll probably forget about us. But Miss Diane and Mr. Mark, they knew our names, and that's why we stayed on. All right, we were given headings to make poems on, and this particular heading that was used was to pretend you were one of the people who were leaving, who were going to leave home on the Windrush.
Okay, we just give them
So
a minute.
I call this one Getting Ready. Now I am all fixed up to go to England. I have everything ready. I have got my pretty dress with a little jacket. It is so smart, I tell you. It was sewn by Miss Mary, that good seamstress down the road. She sews good clothes for everybody on the street. She used to sew my school uniform when I was small. Now she has made my dress to go to England. What a thing. I wonder if the people in England go to church every Sunday like we do in Belize. They must do, because Methodism came from over there, didn't it? I know all my hymns. I know my national anthem, which, by the way, is the same as theirs over there. Now, what else can I put in my nice new grip? Oh yes, a bottle of Vicks. Because they might not have that over there. I think.
Thank you, Cynthia. I just want to say about our lovely retired nurses, because there was someone else was along with you. I've forgotten her name now. Adalia, yes. And all of them were like they said, I can't do this. I don't know nothing about creative writing. Don't know if I'm coming back the next week. And it was like, me and Mark was like, oh, okay. But they kept going, and look at the amazing work that they've come up with today. So I want to give them another honour, please, for taking part. So yeah, thank you. Okay, so now we're going to have something a little bit different. We're going to have a drama scene for you, and two of the people that are in it, they've been up already doing poems, and I've actually worked on a drama piece with them before at Bedford, at the Beacon that they go to, and they were brilliant. It's on YouTube. What was it called? Panic Stations. that they put together with some of the people that are in here as well. I think Kat, Lauren, they're in here, yes. So yeah, look it up on YouTube, Panic Stations. So without further ado, we're going to have a dramatic piece, and I have to say that it may contain scenes of language people may find offensive, but it's all in the art of the drama. They are acting, so just have that in your head and don't beat anybody up afterwards. One of them is scared that they might get beaten up. So, okay. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce Michelle and Nduma, and it's called When Gus Met Peggy.
Hello, Mum. My friend's dad let me down at water room. I just come to get some boardings.
I'm sorry, we ain't got no rooms left.
But there's a sign in the back that says that there's vacancies.
Oh, someone come about 5 minutes ago, love, and there's no rooms left.
Well, can I have half a pint of ale then, please?
I'm not being funny, love, but it's not me, it's my customers. I can't have you darkies in here, you know, so get out of my pub.
Darkies like us who took a bullet for this country, you know.
Well, yeah, you lot. My Arthur, he died in the war and he's got medals, but you ain't got no medals, have you?
I've got some medals.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, you fought for the country, you lot, you darkies, that.
Yeah, I'm sorry about to hear that, but I've got friends who died in the war as well, you know.
I'm so sorry, my Arthur, he died in the war and he left his 2 kids behind. I miss him so much, I'm so sorry, I got you all wrong, didn't I? Let's start again. My name's Peggy, what's your name?
I'm Gus.
Nice to meet you, Gus. And you know what? You can stay as long as you like. Forget about the half pint of ale. You know that rum you look like?
Yeah.
You join me in a glass if you like.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, here's to your Arthur.
And here's to your good friends. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nduma and Michelle. It was kind of a brainchild of Mark thinking about that, and then Michelle actually wrote most of that script. So, thank you, Michelle.
Up to the time.
Okay, so we are actually we've kind of more or less come to the end of the second half. Before we have our Queen of Poetry and our final performance singing. We're just going to take a 5-minute break so we can set that up. So just take 5 and then we'll be back for the final 2 pieces. Okay, thank you.
Up to the time.
Now, I'm going to introduce our Queen of Poetry. She is from Luton, originally from London. You might want to tell us a little bit about your history, your family's, journey, Hanifa, when you join us. But Hanifa, another formidable woman, not just Georgia, formidable and definitely 100% best poet that I know in Luton, for sure. And I have the honour of introducing Hanifa Mohammed to the stage. Did you want a mic stand?
You know that. Yeah, I would like that. Thank you. Yeah. So, hi everyone. So you know now, my name's Hanifa. Of course I'm a queen really, but yeah, anyway, yeah. So, yeah, and yes, I'm from Luton, and yes, I'm a poet, and I'm also a social worker. Diane and I work very closely together on a couple of projects for Recovery College. And I'm just a co-facilitator, that's all I am. I'm kind of Diane's lackey. I just carry her bag and tell her when she says, get the coffee, bring the trolley, and all that. And Amit's sitting there, he's my witness, he knows. He always sees me every Thursday taking the trolley out there. So I do, and Diane is a great facilitator, really, and I'm just assisting her. So, as for me, as I say, I work for ELFT part-time. I'm a mental health social worker there. I've also written a couple of books, one around stress and one publishing my poems, and I've co-authored other books as well. And I'm a life coach, and that, I think I'm going to leave it at that, really. The important thing for me is that I am blessed to, I feel blessed anyway, that I'm able to share my poetry with other people, and my aim and my intention and my goal and my desire is to inspire people with the words that I am given. And I tell you straight, the words don't come from inside me, right? They come from me, but they're given to me from some other place. I truly believe that. They come to me from some other place, and I'm just the vehicle for those words, and thank you that I am the vehicle. I feel very blessed for that. So I'm just hoping that what I'm able to share with you will inspire you. And I mean, we're talking about the Windrush, of course. And I know you've heard a lot about what happened at Windrush and, you know, the experiences that people had and so on and so forth. But I don't think there's any harm in reminding us about that time. I'm a Windrush child myself. I was born here in the 1953, yeah, okay, 1953. So I was born here, the youngest of 3 children. My brother and sister were born in Jamaica, and they came over with my parents. And then I came along a year later. So, you know, I grew up in Notting Hill, which was one of the seats of the race rights. And I have vague memories as a child, my relatives, particularly the male relatives, coming in or going out a bit tooled up, you know, going to sort out whatever they had to sort out on the streets because they had to defend themselves. And I heard stories about, having memories as a child of hearing stories about what they were doing out there and the kind of pressures that they were under, and I understand it so much clearly now. And I give honour, I pay honour to the Windrush generation, those who came over, my parents' age group who came over and, you know, took responsibility for working, for looking after their families, looking after their communities. And so today, we, those of us who are the generation who came after them, are here, and we have a duty, I believe, to ensure that their work, and indeed the work of the ancestors who came even before them, is not dishonored. We have a duty to continue to contribute to the development and to the growth of our community, and all communities, I might say. So, in terms of my poetry, I'm just going to, I want to do a piece that is basically about, if you like, about my experience, and then about the general experience, and I know Mark wanted something that took us a little bit away from the sort of stories that we know, and just looked forward. He wants us to look forward to what we've done and where we're going. So I'm hoping I'm going to cover those 3 bases. So, without further ado, let's go. So, what shall I start with? Yeah, okay. So what I'm going to start with is one I've written. It's called "And Still I Rise." And still I rise. I'm greatly inspired by the poet and author and all-round powerful woman Maya Angelou, and clearly this is this title is taken from a poem she wrote, and so I've borrowed it from Mother Maya Angelou, and I hope she doesn't mind. Anyway, mine is "And Still I Rise." We Africans waited 400 years to be set free from the hell and the misery of our captivity. And I am haunted by the echoes of the ancestors' cries. I'm bruised, but I'm not broken, and still I rise. My family packed up and they left Jamaica. They believed coming to England would be much better. They came in the 1950s and got settled, and then I arrived. I was born the youngest of three, small and sickly, and still I rise. I was born black, and I was born a girl. I was born into a white man's world. There were so many opportunities that I was denied. I faced changes and challenges, but guess what? Still, I rise. We survived racism, riots, and painful rejection. But the crushing weight of so much tension took its toll and finally broke our parents' ties. I was confused, sad, but I survived, and still I rise. The hate we experienced from others was designed to make us leave. But our resolve was tougher than they believed. Our enslavement shows how much my people were despised. But I come from their soil, I come from their loins, and still I rise. And today, whatever they choose to throw at me, I remind them I'm an African black woman and I'm born free. It's not important to me what they think or what they decide. My black life matters, and I'm here to stay, and still I rise. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I think that's a message that, I hope that that's a message that all of us, whether we are African, whether we are European, whether we are Asian, whether we're male, whether we're female, I hope that that spirit of rising from where we were to where we hope to get to, I hope that spirit lives within us. And if it isn't alive, if you haven't awakened that spirit, I hope you find a way to do that, because we all have it inside us. It's just a question of tapping into it. That notion of rising and not staying where we are and where people think we should be. Okay? So still I rise. Thank you. So here's the kind of Windrushy one, and they're all Windrush, but so we are the Windrush generation. When the Empire Windrush sailed into Tilbury on the 1st of June 1948, no one back then could possibly have known the significance of that date. But it heralded the first large-scale arrival of black people from the Caribbean. And it's become an important date in the history of our people in Britain. As it moved slowly across the sea, the Windrush carried the hopes and the dreams of people who could only imagine the place they were about to see. Some had heard that the streets of England were once paved with gold, but the rain, the smog, the snow and the bitter cold were the story they had not been told. I was born a couple of years after my parents came to England. They arrived in the early 1950s and felt secure as they were British citizens. Like so many other families, Dad came first, and my older brother was left in Jamaica. Mum came next, carrying a 6-month-old baby in her arms, and that was my older sister. They had left the familiar surroundings in the place of their birth. They left the sun, the sea, and the sweet-smelling earth. They left their homes and their jobs and their families, left their friends, their sweethearts, and their rich histories. They left to answer the call from the motherland and came to Britain to offer their help, to lend a hand. They came to rebuild the country that had been ravaged by the war. They came to a place many had only seen in pictures before. Can you imagine that? coming to a place so far away and only seeing it in pictures before. That takes faith and courage. Anyway, most came from parts of the West Indies from the late 1940s and 50s. Men in sharp suits and hats. Women wore gloves and dresses starched and pretty. Some came here by plane and some came on other ships, all with their worldly possessions packed neatly in their sturdy, that's the one, in their sturdy grip. Some were lucky as they had relatives and friends who came earlier and had begun to settle here. So they were met with smiles and a welcome which gave them much needed cheer. But nothing could have prepared the new arrivals for the reality that lay ahead. Old grey brick houses, outside toilets, huddled in one room, and some even sharing one bed. White landlords complained that our bodies and our food smelled. Some called us monkeys, and they wanted to know if we had tails. Others refused point blank to even think about renting black people a room. They certainly didn't want their homes, to share their homes with niggers, darkies, and black coons. Many black people who came here already had a profession or a trade, and all they wanted to do was to work hard and, of course, to get paid. Most only planned to stay for 5 years, and then they would go back home, back to the countries they loved and the places where they had grown. They missed their homes and the lives they'd left behind, longed for their families and to feel the heat and the sunshine. They dreamed of the places they felt they belonged, which was theirs. It was where being black wasn't a problem. No one complained and no one cared or stared. So at first, when they came to England, black people lived close together in places where our families and our friends knew each other. It meant our communities were built on shared traditions and values, like church, house parties, partner, and of course, Saturday soup. Trust me, there's a thing, Saturday soup, in the West Indian community. Just beef, brisket, boiled. I'm tasting it now, and I'm vegan. I should move on swiftly before I drift back. Okay. The signs in the windows spat out the words, no Irish, no dogs, no wogs. It was obvious they meant us, black people, who they called nignogs. The message they were sending was stark, and they made it very clear. They said, go away, go back home, we don't want your lot here. Now remember, as so-called Commonwealth immigrants, we were invited to come. But little did we know that our arrival was upsetting for some. Many English people were scared. They believed our presence would put their way of life in danger from us, the people they described as these colored strangers. There was rioting, fighting, beatings, and sadly, there were also some deaths. Black people were scared, and they felt under constant threat from teddy boys and all the others who called for us to get out. And then the Tory MP Enoch Powell's infamous Rivers of Blood speech left us in no doubt. But still, our families stayed to work on the buses and on the trains, in the hospitals and in the factories. They didn't mind. They felt no shame. And as time went by, they sent for their families to come here to join them, to get an education, a job, and save enough money, and then go back home again. Today we're still fighting for respect, but not from a sense of arrogance or entitlement. Although not so long ago, some politicians wanted to create a hostile environment. For us, A people whose only dream was to come here to contribute as British citizens to help with healing the wounds of war that had shattered their country, Great Britain. Now, 75 years after Windrush docked, some West Indians went back. Sadly, others passed away. But like the phoenix, more than 3 generations have risen to take their place. And for many of us, our parents' stories of their hardships have laid the foundation stones for ensuring we build a better life, not just for ourselves, but for everyone. So, whether you came as an adult, like my parents, as a child like my sister, or like me, you were born here, we had a right to come, to grow up, to build a life, and to live in peace and without fear. Because we are a part of Britain's long history. We have given so much to this country. We are the Windrush generation with our own unique culture and our rich and lasting legacy. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And I know that some of the things I've said could well be seen as quite hard-hitting, and some people might feel that they're a bit brutal and a bit raw, but you know what? That's the reality of the situation that was. I experienced some of it personally. Teddy boys, absolutely, me and my sister were flung in the gutter when we were young, just coming back from Mr. Fay's sweet shop. I remember that so clearly, and it has to have been many years ago. But I remember that very, very clear. Now, I remember the rat-infested house that we lived in, 69 Bramley Road and 33 Tavistock Crescent, all in Notting Hill. I remember those conditions as I was growing up. And I remember I saw the signs. No Irish, no dogs, and no wogs. Whether I knew the significance of it at that time when I saw the signs, I'm not sure. Maybe I did, because that's a memory that stays in my mind. So I think it's important for us to remember, and there wouldn't be a Windrush if it wasn't that Windrush celebration or remembrance, if it wasn't something that we didn't feel needs remembering and keeping as part of our history here. But it wasn't all bad. It's not all negative. Those things happened, fact, can't get away from it. But then we move on, because we have to. Because we've got families here, and we've built lives here. I have a friend who's sitting in this very room here, a few friends actually, but one in particular who's sitting in this very room here and came over, not from the Caribbean, from the African continent, and she's a doctor now. If I point her out, she's going to say, "Oh, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?" But she's here, and she's a doctor now. She went through hard times, trials, and she lived in the same places that you know, I talk about, and that she knows the stories. But she's made her way, and she had a dream, she had a vision, and she has realized that vision, and probably still in the process of continuing to realize that vision. I'm not even going to look in her direction at all. I'm not looking in her direction. But that's my sister, my friend, my greatest friend, Dr. Ntabi Fakujukula. See what she does. She just. But I'm so proud of her because of what she achieved, and I saw the hardships that she went through, and she's a family woman, and boy, you have to give props where they're due. And all of us have got those kinds of experiences, I'm sure, in our families, where you know we had tough times, but we've come through them with a determination and a focus to make our lives better and the lives of other people better. And I think that's just wonderful. So my final piece is called The Seeds That We Sowed. Again, it's Windrush, but hopefully it's moving on to the next level. It's 75 years ago since Windrush docked, and it's too late now to turn back the clock. So let's celebrate how far we have come, who we've become, and all that we have done. We came here in large numbers in 1948, but we didn't expect the anger we faced from people who felt we didn't belong and said, go back to where you have come from. Yeah, sure. We went through very tough times, but guess what? We're still here. We survived. We fought back. We stood our ground. And we're here today. We're black and we're proud. Ooh, there's a little creepy calling. We're black and we're proud. Our African ancestors left us a legacy, a burning desire to live and to be free. So we have a duty, a big responsibility to fight back against all forms of tyranny. But fighting isn't always about using bombs and bullets. We're greater when we work together as one unit. Now, I know that, sadly, we've been taught not to trust each other. But you can start by trusting the person you see reflected in the mirror. And then see the beauty in your sister and your brother. Join hands and feel the love, the energy, and the power that we generate just by coming together as one force, with one desire, one focus, following one course. Now, we've seen the images of the Windrush generation coming here together with a shared motivation to help rebuild the place they called the mother country and to improve life for themselves and for their families. We must maintain their vision, their unity of purpose. Use the experiences of those who came before us, pool our knowledge, our skills, and our resources to reclaim, reorganize, and rebuild our communities. Black people are descendants of a mighty African race whose wisdom, spirit, and beauty is in our DNA. We are a strong, spiritual, loving, and creative people, and we hold the keys to the dreams that we seek to fulfill. Though the odds were stacked against us right from the start, we've kept our focus and we've played our part. Excuse me. We've had success in fields like sports and music and fashion, and in other areas too, like health, literature, and education. And so, let us keep on learning the lessons from the past to create a better future for all, and one that's built to last. So that in 75 years from now, future generations will know they are reaping the harvest from the seeds that we sowed. Thank you.
Thank you, Hanifa. Oh.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Wonderful. And mate, you see when I say Queen of Poetry, there you go. You saw it for yourself, heard it for yourself. So we have our final act now. And someone again from Luton, right? Yeah, our Luton are representing tonight. I'm so pleased. And the song we're going to hear is one that's based on Windrush. And it is by our amazing, lovely, wonderful Prince Malachi with Great Welcome.
Thank you. How is everyone doing? Feeling good? Positive vibes? Edutainment? Have you learned something? Yes, Anifa. Fire. Hot. Yes, worker. So I'd just like to say before we start, give thanks to everyone who's come here tonight, all the contributors to this night, and all the people who have made their way out here tonight to be a part of this moment, you know? Give thanks. I hope it has been good. I hope you have learned something. Keep it in your mind, keep it in your heart. It's a real thing. It's the unspoken stuff. You know what I say? Yeah, so kick it the worker, because you know it though. You will look a volume. You can rock, you know. You can free up yourself a little if you want. Yeah? You can turn it up a little, worker. Yes. Bless up. So we were looking for somewhere to go, and they promised the streets paved with gold. Many packed their things and left their sun-soaked land. Some sailed on their sailing ships, others flew over the Atlantic. We arrived in this new place with many plans. But after so many things anticipating, we were surprised to see so many unsmiling faces. Though we came by invite, we were shown so much hatred. Then you violate me without cause. You say, no blacks, no Irish, no dogs. We thank you for your great... Pull it up. One more time. Come again. Come again, come again, come again. So this is where we're at. Right? This is where we're at. So at this moment, we have to big up all who came before us. You know what I say? 'Cause the struggle was really a struggle. You know what I say? Some people, it's written, but them hide it. So, you know, we have to kind of give thanks to all who came before us. The patriarchs and the matriarchs who made that journey. You know, we come here to help and seek a better life for ourselves. You know what I say? Because, you know, so we come from colonialism. Them come and capture our place long time. They give us their language. They give us their culture. They give us their education. And now we come here, and it wasn't a nice experience. You know what I say? So there's ones and ones who really, they are like warriors on the battlefield. You know? Real warriors on the battlefield coming into the unknown. You know, so we give thanks to the ancestors. Yes, kick it the worker. You can dance. Yeah, free up yourself, you know. Yeah, give thanks. Ooh, yeah. See. So we were looking for somewhere to go, and they promised the streets paved with gold. Many packed their things and left their sun-soaked land. Some sailed on their sailing ships, others flew over the Atlantic. We arrived in this new place with many plans. But after we were surprised to see so many unsmiling faces. Though we came by invite, we were shown so much hatred. Then you violate me without cause. You said, no blacks, no Irish, no dogs. We thank you for your great welcome on our arrival in your land, the not so united queendom. The struggles we face are still not yet done, but we'll have to keep on pushing, keep on pushing. Finally I found employment, it can just about pay the rent. Got to hold my head up high, no time for tears, no, oh no. No need I look for no promotion, it always goes to the other man. Though I'm working twice as hard, no one cares. But now my wife found a job in the city, working hard on the night shift ain't easy, oh no. But we gotta find a way to make loose ends meet, cause the children need school clothes and a lot more food to eat. We thank you for your great welcome on our arrival in your land, the not so united queendom. The struggles we face are still not yet done, but I'll have to keep on pushing. Now the children are all grown up, we've survived 2 times so rough, but ahead there's still a long, long way to go. My work is done, I'm a tired man, must return to my own island, back to the place I really love and know. Sometimes I often look back in hindsight, should I really ever boarded that first flight? But how could I have known it would be such a hard fight? But I've lived to tell my son, if you are good, you know got to run. So we thank you for your great welcome on our arrival in your land, the not so united queendom. Say the troubles we face are still not yet gone, but we gotta keep on pushing, oh God. So we thank you, your great welcome on our arrival in your land, not so united queendom. Troubles that we face are still not yet done, but we'll have to keep on pushing. Oh my people, yeah, keep on pushing. Everybody say, keep on pushing. Keep on, keep on, keep on pushing through. Keep on pushing. White people, black people, unite. Brown people, yellow people, all people. Yeah. Give thanks. Blessed love.
Whoa, wow, amazing. That's just amazing. Thank you, Prince Malachi. Oh, I heard something. Hold on. Prince Malachi, please come back up here. Please come back up here. Up on the stage with me. There's something I have to let you know. As part of our creative writing group, we actually used your song as one of our stimulus for the group to write some poetry. That's why one of the poems Jackie did was Keep On Pushing Through. And yeah, we used it. So thank you for your contribution, for some of the work that came through today. Yeah. A birdie also told me that it's also your birthday. So you and Leo, another Leo in the house.
Lions in the house.
Yeah, all the lions.
And lionesses.
Yes, lions and lionesses. So happy birthday to Prince Malachi. Yes, thank you. All right. Wow. So what a finish. Amazing, brilliant. And Amazing lyrics. And if you look it up on YouTube, you'll get to see there's an amazing video that goes with that song called Great Welcome. And I love the irony of that title as well. We also did a piece on that as well, on that title. So, yeah. So we've come to the end of the poetry, the creative writing, and you know what came from that. And I know it's going to be there's going to be some music, right, Mark? Yes. Okay. So yeah. So we're all done. So I just want to thank you all for coming and supporting. You know, we wouldn't be able to kind of do all this if you weren't going to come and be here and support everyone that put hard work into creating for you tonight. So thank you all so much. Give yourselves a round of applause. And I want to thank everyone who performed and just went out there. I know, like, everyone was so nervous. So thank you so much. You know, we wouldn't tell. So Mark, Georgia, want to thank you, and OMG for putting this on. Give them a round of applause, please. Thank you. And that's it, really. Over, I don't know if Mark or Georgia, are you done? Oh. See what I mean? Formidable woman. Well, I'm done. My job is done. Thank you.
But I'd like you to stay, Diane, actually. Mark, if you could bring the tings. I'd also like to invite to the stage Rose Teabag-Arkle, if you could come up, and Val, also, if you could come up to the stage. And if we could give a round of applause to these amazing women who have contributed so much to tonight, I'd be very, very grateful. So you guys have done so much in preparation for tonight. I've been fairly useless, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. I just turn up and chat about a little bit on the night. But you guys have been instrumental not only in prepping our wonderful contributors to the evening, but also making sure that the night runs swiftly. Honestly, I don't know where we would have got through the night if it weren't for you guys. So thank you so, so much for everything that you have done to make sure that tonight happens. And we just have a few little bunches of flowers. Just a second or two. So thank you so much. They got your bad selves! Woo! And that is actually it from me. Mark, anything more from you? I think that's a wrap. So enjoy some music, guys. Have another drink and enjoy yourselves. Thank you very much.